Do this. Okay, we are now live. So listen here, Mister. You better clean up your language because the truck talk driver talk was super bad. Seriously though. All right. So dude guy number 11, I think, is the dude guy. YOLO for everyone on the team. Who knows? If you know, you know. YOLO is the Endurance Nation vibe, and we are here today to record another dude guy episode. It's Friday, September 22nd. By the time you get this, it will likely be December or January, according to my production schedule. I'm so sorry. I'm doing other things instead of just producing podcasts, but we are up to good things as well. So, Matt, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Well, I'm healing from my disastrous broken ribs, but I'm on the comeback trail. Everybody loves a comeback. I got a comeback story. It's gonna be great. I have a great comeback story.
Totally. Listen, I think all those homeopathic solutions that you're taking are totally fine, and possibly, even though they may have some psychedelic side effects, if it makes you heal faster, like why not, right?
You gave me the suggestions for the homeopathic thing. I had to go
actually,
find the
actually, I was the one who did
it. You did. You gave me the.
Okay, fine. Hey.
I'm taking homeopathic stuff.
Hey, like, dude, guys never face consequences. You can't bring that back.
I have this hand growing out of the top of my head. Why is that the case?
Exactly. Well, it's yes, because you're the other hands. Or
yeah, that's right.
You never know. Come on, you're like that fish in The Simpsons with the extra eye. What's wrong with this radioactive nuclear plant here?
I can text and type.
But it is a good reminder as we pause for a public service announcement here on Dude Guy that when you do get injured, getting healthy takes time. And you can hide being injured by like taking lots of pills and be like, I feel fine. I feel like a superhero, or antler powder or whatever other sort of supplement you can imagine. But if something's gone wrong, if you've injured yourself, whether overuse or accidentally, like recovering is work. Like recovering is hard. Training is hard too, but training is hard and fun. There are no endorphins with recovery. There's no like, it's awesome with my feet on this sofa. I've got these vibes coursing through my body, this energy. I can post my sitting around session to Strava. Maybe we should invent that, an app for people who are just recovering, just doing nothing. Like today 0-0, and we could all be like, kudos, another 0. I thought about exercising, but I stopped myself. Way to go! But it's hard. So I'm super pleased with progress. Like you said, as long as we're moving one step forward, it is forward. So it makes a big difference. So I know you'll be back soon enough.
Yeah, it'll be good.
Crushing it.
Good secret plans, all kinds of stuff. It'll be great. It'll be great. New and improved.
Oh, I love secret plans. I love that. Hey, speaking of secret plans, did you see? I saw from Mr. Noise that he's going to be doing Leadville Run next year. And I was like, uh-oh, I see. Already getting pulled to Colorado. Look at that. So anyway, okay, so on to the topic for today's episode. I'm going to make you go first. But let's see. What do we got on the Dude Guy agenda for this week? What's going on in the world of endurance sports?
Two things. I guess two things going on for me. One is that you started talking about HRV. You sent me this podcast about the woman that does, clinical psychologist doing HRV stuff. And then the end of the podcast has the coach for the Boston Celtics is doing like some serious HRV
Miami
work
Heat.
there. Yeah, Miami Heat. And then I'm a fan of the Whoop. You're the fan of the Aura Ring or whatever. And my Whoop was coming up for renewal or whatever. And so I was like, well, so I found a way to get an Aura Ring. And so I got the Whoop versus Aura Ring showdown going on for a week to see which one I like better. So comparing the two between, what I see from Whoop and what I get from Aura Ring. So it's been going on for the last couple of days. So I got that.
Okay.
And then the other part, we got a question from some of the folks on the team about what to do for, this kind of like, hey, I've kind of ended my season. I'm still not, going to ramp it up for next season. What could I be doing for what's the most effective things I could be doing for training between like now and when I, really want to crank it up for the out season or something like that. Trademark.
Okay.
Out season.
Trademark. Out season Tim.
Yeah. So those are two things I got for you. I take that.
All right, awesome. Let's go. Well, let's go the HRV one first, because I know you and I have been talking behind the scenes. So this year in the out season, which will be our 19th. I have no idea what year of the out season this is going to be, which is our focus program, TM, that we use 14 weeks to build your fast before we get to your far end season. It's really a focus program, runs 7 days a week, but there are 2 days of rest, which drives everybody insane. We just talked about how rest is awful, but we do rest in the winter. There's a lot of knock on intensity. People will say you can't do intensity and get stronger. You burn out with intensity, you fade away. Yeah, if you do it all wrong, yeah, you burn out. Totally. Yes. If you don't rest, recover, you do it wrong, you burn out. But also, if you do lots of volume and you have a job and you have a life and things you like to do, like say sleep in the winter or pick up other hobbies or recover, or maybe train during the week, but then do more adventurous stuff on the weekend with your friends on mountains. Yeah, you can't do all the volume either because you'll be exhausted. So there's a tipping point to both. And the way we manage intensity in the out season is that we put in those 2 days of rest on Monday and Friday, and we have to do a lot of high quality work as well to get you ready. So it's a fun program. It's super effective. You have different variations for triathletes. You have variations for runners, variations for cyclists. The program is very similar, and everyone kind of goes through this gauntlet. Starts October 30th, and there's information online about it. You'll see it in our newsletter this weekend. If you're not subscribed, go to our newsletter, enduranceStation.us/newsletter, and go ahead and get that newsletter, and you can subscribe and learn more. But every year we do something new, which is why we're talking about HRV. And this year, the focus for the new is on that recovery, which is specifically maximizing that, because over the last 17, 18 years, we started in 2007, so 17 years. Last 17 years, we've gotten really good at getting people to do the work. They understand the work, they do the work, they're compliant. We have a system for helping other people join in and cheer one another on for the work. We have captains for the out season, which leads to some camaraderie and leadership. It's all fantastic. It works really well. But the differentiator between people who are successful in the winter and who are successful all season isn't necessarily how much work they can do. It's how much they're actually able to absorb that work, which takes us over into that recovery category. And HRV is something that I've been using this whole season, started in January, as you mentioned. I know you've been doing it for a while yourself, and now you've got the dual competing metrics. I can only imagine what your Android is trying to do. This is trying to decide which app to pay attention to, which app to listen to. But the idea here is that we're going to start using HRV as a metric with a core group of people inside the team, which is how we always sample things first before we roll it out to the whole group, to figure out what's the best methodology for making sure that you can proceed with a session and are going to be successful versus when you need to back off. What did I miss? What else? What did I talk about there, dude?
That was a great summary. I think you nailed it. That was really good. Is that, yeah, just trying to emphasize the balance between the work and the rest. Yeah. And I think the other part of the out season it's not like 14 weeks where we try to ramp your blue line if you're training peaks geek, but we got the 4 weeks of work and then a rest week, 4 weeks of work and a rest week. So it's kind of built in there. So not only are you resting during the week, but you also are, doing blocks of work that's progressive over those 14 weeks. Mm-hmm. So it gives you a chance to, watch your sleep, figure out how your performance is changing. If you want to get into these other metrics, like, resting heart rate, HRV, I think those would be like the next level of, like, now that everybody has a good understanding of, FTP and doing time and zone, all that kind of stuff like that, getting conversant about what good rest looks like for you and feels like for you. Right.
Yes. Can I say something?
Yeah.
Word of the episode, conversant. Now, did you make up that word, or is that really a word?
That's a word.
I think that's the word of the episode. That's a word?
That's legit. That's legit. You can Google it. We can Google it.
I've never said the word conversant. Audience, if you've used the word conversant in the conversation, I want to know. Someone has been reading journals online. Someone is getting edumacated over there. That was pretty legit. Someone is becoming conversant. I like it. You're doing so much reading, you don't even talk like a person anymore. Beep boop. Dude, guys everywhere just unsubscribe from this episode because they're like, I don't know who they got to talk about. He's talking about some HRV and some other stuff, but I know I'm listening to somebody say conversant. I don't know what that is. I had that once in college. It took me weeks to get rid of it. I had to take a bunch of antler pills. That's out. I almost grew a hand out of my head. I was so conversant. I was like, I'm out. No, but I think the nuance there is really important. The reason why we're focusing on this piece for recovery, and this is something as an aside, one of the things that we see with athletes, again, 17 years, right? So I'm not making this stuff up. The athletes who are more in tune with their bodies make better decisions. it's hard to really understand what's going on and then also say no. It's hard to know you have a flat tire, like know you have a flat tire and keep driving, right? Then you've had to make a choice that like, I know I'm doing something that's not good for my car. And I'm making that choice because I need to get out of this scary situation, right? Or I need to get off this highway or whatever it is. But most athletes actually don't know. And sometimes it's a combination of like ignorance. There's like a scale where people are like, I don't want to know. Like something's not right, but I don't want to know what it is. So I'm not gonna look over that way, right? Like you in the bike crash. Don't want to look over there. No, it's bad. Not going in there. Like a horror movie, right? Don't open that door. Don't open the door. And on the other side, there's also just general like unawareness. And we want athletes to be informed enough that they are actually able to make a really significantly impactful decision on what they want to do. So if we can show you with your HRV data, you already know how you feel. And most days people are like, I don't feel so great. Like I had a hard session yesterday, had a hard day, whatever, but I got to do my workout. So we just tell ourselves that we feel great. I feel great. I ask you a survey, like, how are you? Like, great. I'm like, how come you're still in bed and you snooze 17 times? Because I'm great. I was just saying great to myself 17 times before I hit my alarm button to get out of bed because I'm great. And I'm like, well, what about your workout? Like the warm up, you had to skip it because you were late. That's because I feel so great. I was outside yelling great at the world instead of doing my warm up. But I'm here doing my main set. And my heart rate's elevated and the power numbers are low, but everything is great because it's awesome. In fact, did you see my file title? I called it great. Like, so everything is great. There's nothing to see here. Please move along. And that's not a strength. That's a problem just waiting to happen. And so by giving people corresponding data points and also putting them in a supportive network of other people who are having realistic conversations about their capacity as an individual to be an athletic superstar on a daily basis, also known as great, we are going to turn them into better people by just giving them that power. So to me, I'm super excited about it. It's not just a thing you wear on your finger and say, I'm one of you, you're like me. But actually using it to make decisions, I think will be really powerful going forward. So I think it is partly science. And as I'm sort of intimating, not quite like conversant, but close.
Oh, come on.
As I'm intimating.
That's a $5 word right there.
Come on. Oh, $5. All right, I'll take my $5 back from you, Mr. Conversant. I think there's also a huge social aspect to it as well, where, there's one thing to have the information. It's another thing to use it. And as athletes, we need some sort of combination of both data and normalizing that behavior so we can do that thing. So I'm excited to find out what that secret sauce is this winter. It's going to be awesome. So
yeah, and the winter's, I think, a good time to do it because you get some time to practice with it, like doing some intensity. And then, like you kind of mentioned, it's kind of like the art and science of your recovery, right? So you have the opportunity to do that during the winter time of being able to experiment with, your sleep or varying your routine.
Right.
And then you can put that to practice during your, your race build or whatever. Like, hey, this is not only what I got fitter over the winter, but I also learned about how I recover and how I best respond to, stimulus and stuff. I got to continue to make gains.
Totally. And for folks like us who are no longer 29 years old, being 30, I know you agree with me, is really tough right now. But when you start to listen to your body and see how you perform in your workouts, like super double top secret insider stuff here, but like you actually can make better decisions about all manner of things. Like now that I understand where my recovery is, I'm like, oh, why is my number lower today or the last 4 days than before? What's different? Or in the case of the ring, like which measures my sleep, I can see like when I have a beer, like one beer, I have a terrible night's sleep, like every time consistently. And it's like, why am I going to drink beer if I know I'm going to have a shitty day tomorrow because I drank beer? Now it's got to be a really compelling social reason. So I'll go out, have fun with my friends, do all this stuff. That's fine. I know going into that situation that my sleep's going to be bad and I'm going to have a bad day tomorrow. That's fine. I can make that decision. But until I was able to correlate those two pieces, I just didn't know. And so now I get to make better decisions across the board. Things like when I stop drinking caffeine at noon now, I take a 15-minute nap on a daily basis. I've changed all sorts of different types of behavior because I know that it corresponds to better overall outcomes of my workouts, and better overall outcomes from my workouts means, which is the pointy end of my existence in terms of physical work. The trickle-down effect is all the other things that I'm doing also get better, which is awesome. Although it is shortening the life of my sofa, I think, because I'm not in a lot more.
I guess the last thing I'll throw in there is along with, the life performance and the trade-offs that you're making, and you're making informed decisions about, what your dietary choices are or your workout choices. But I don't think I don't want you have to have the ring, or you have to have the Whoop, or you have to have the, Garmin Phoenix 17 to pull this off. I think there's things that you can look at and give yourself feedback on without having a gadget. So I think, while there are some insights you can gain from having the gadget, but you also have to look at things that are not necessarily gadgetifiable, right? So I think folks can participate in that out-season recovery thing without necessarily having a gadget. I want to say, hey, you have to have the, X number dollar thing to participate. You can participate in that recovery phase of the out-season without having a gadget to do it.
Totally. Agreed. The one thing you do need to have, though, is an Endurance Nation membership, which you can apply for at endurancenation.us/join. Yes, because you don't get the mojo, you don't get the knowledge, you don't get the support, you don't get the learning without that for her. Okay, awesome. All right, let's move on to that second thing you were talking about. Do you remember what it was?
No, I forgot what the second thing I was talking about.
DudeGuy! You were too busy Googling conversant to figure out if it was a real word before you got back to your topic about the other.
All right, I was bluffing. So it was what to do with your season. So let's just say, you're Northern Hemisphere. So you did a lot of racing this summer, and now you still have some September and fall riding time left for you, depending on when the snow flies in your particular area. You're going to start the out season with us because it's going to be awesome. You're going to come the end of October or November, because you probably will have an early season race you want to knock out. That'll set you up for some fitness. So what do you do for September, October? If you say you have let's just say you have, 45 to 60-ish days left before you're going to, crank it up and get back into structured training. How could you structure your week, or what kind of things could you be doing right now that would, be advantageous for your fitness and stuff like that, considering you just had a long season of, doing epic things.
Well, first of all, I'm just going to hit pause for a second, because I know I put on some weight since the race season, but I think you coming out and calling me Northern Hemisphere was a bit much and excessive. I'm not that large. That was a bit aggressive right there. I'm going to hit pause on that right there. Unacceptable. Maybe a continent. You can call me North America, but that's about it. No, you're not wrong. And this is an interesting time of year. So inside Endurance Nation, we're all about ROI, return on investment. So where does your time go, and what do you get out of that for your input, right? So do we get faster? Are we getting stronger? And this time of year for me is actually interesting, because we have two options really for athletes to boil it down to. One is, let's max out on the fun side. So you have all this fitness for the year. You've done a couple races, bigger races or whatever. And it's now you don't have any more races planned. The weather's kind of iffy, like you said. Might be a good day, might be a bad day, hard to say. So you can't really plan ahead, and we're not, booking races and all that stuff. So you can go out and have fun. You can do half marathon, for example, or you could do a fun fall ride, do a fall fondo, or make roll your own event, where you see Robin Sarner doing that out there on the West Coast, coming up with some fun events to fill his time. So that's one option, which is just have more fun. So be active enough to be to keep the fun going. So one side, it's the fun, because in many cases, when you're really sort of high level age group athlete, whatever your sport may be, a lot of your training and planning is really structured. As 4 out of 5 people on the team right now know exactly what they're going to do next year in 2024. In that case, there's just not a lot of wiggle room, but wiggle room is fun. There's a lot of room for opportunity. So one level is go fun. And if you have that option, I always stress that first, go have fun. Just do the things that you want to do on the weekends, pick fun adventures to get after, and then we can help you sort out the training in between. The other option is to kind of get a head start, but not head start in the traditional sense of doing more work. Start doing intervals now. Because if I did, Patrick says do intervals in November, but if I did intervals starting in September, then I'd be stronger, and I'd just be infinitely stronger, before I get to the, next year is July, when actually, no, you will be infinitely more broken by the time that you get there. Not worth it. So we focus on durability. So we have different options for you. We have a run durability program, cycling, or a blended mix, sort of whichever one you want to do. But the idea here is we start making really progressive, sustainable gains through repeat activities to help you build resiliencies. It's like specifically on the run. It's like really a run program. We've made some hybrid versions so that you can be stronger and fitter when the season arrives and then carry that fitness through. So one of the knocks on intensity is that you put out a lot of effort, but you don't have the infrastructure to support it or the ability to recover. Well, durability is sort of that earlier stage cheat code that allows you to get there. So if you're following me on Strava right now, you can see that I've been running Monday through Friday. As I build up my run mojo again, I took about a month off from running. It's not been easy, but I'm doing it in small chunks, 2, 3, 4 miles, to get to a place where I can get back to 20 miles a week and feel good about that. After a couple of weeks of that, I get to do a little bit more with the running side as I go, but it starts with those little regular doses. So for me, I usually tell people go fun or go durable is the two options that we're looking at. What does DudeGuy say?
Yeah, DudeGuy, I'm in the same place because I optimized myself for cycling for last year. So I want to get back to running. So I'm rebuilding the running machine. So yeah, so the durability of running every day, like you said, for frequency, not necessarily for, not running massive runs right now, but I'm getting back into the habit of running. Yeah. I think the other thing that you could do is if you wanted to pick up another habit, so being injured, right, is maybe, reflect on, what parts of my training that I can improve on. And one of them I need to improve on is my mobility and probably my strength training. So I'm going to take some of this time as I come back with my, during my, comeback story, is incorporating those habits into my training, right? When do those fit in? When can I put those in? And when do they make sense relative, like for my week and my schedule? Where can I fit my mobility in for my week? So I can make that automatic during these weeks. And then when I get to my structured training, I'm like, oh yeah, I do it on these days because it works for my schedule, or if it works or it makes me feel better on, the run or the bike that I'm doing. But it's finding places to figure out what I want to add and figure out where I'm going to put it into my schedule. And I have some time to play with for that right now.
Cool. That's a great point as well, right? Some of those habits that we can put into place that pay dividends over time. I think people say, like, I'm gonna go get strong. I'm gonna go to the gym. Like, go to the gym. I'll spend an hour a day in the gym. I love the gym. I'll do it twice a week, 2 hours a week at the gym. Well, that's great. Like, being strong is good, but getting to the gym, having a gym membership, like, who wants to pay for a gym membership when you know you're going to use it 2 hours a week or maybe 8 hours this month? You're paying for 30 days and you're going to use 1 day of it. Like, awesome. Like, you really must want to pay that gym membership. But you can do 20 minutes a day and you can put that on repeat now at this time of year. It keeps you focused, builds good discipline, builds good habits, and also gives you a chance to kind of see the result. Usually takes a couple of weeks to kind of get those results back, from those choices you're making. And I think if you can get some of that, get to the point where you get some of that feedback loop, you'll actually see some positive changes, and also kind of lets you know, like, oh yeah, that's something I want to put in my toolkit because that does work for me because I did it and I know that it works for me, as opposed to being like, I'm kind of broken. I don't know what I need to do to fix the broken thing because I didn't do any of the other homework in the front half. So I guess I'll just get this, deer antler powder and start taking it and hope I don't get a hand growing out of my head.
Yes. So I guess the specific example I have is that, like, I've noticed that when I do some mobility, and it only takes like 10 or 15 minutes before I go out on my run,
right.
Huge difference on the run. Like, I have so much more, I just feel better on the run. It has a much better flow. But like, I have had the bad habit of being a runner history of, like, put on the shoes, walk out the door, get the watch synced, and I run, So breaking that habit of, like, shoes outside, watch sync, start running, to, shoes, mobility, a little bit of mobility, and then outside watch sync, the run just goes so much better. Right. So especially if it's a shorter run. So like if it's going to be only a 15 or 20 minute run, then like those 15, 20 minutes are so much more enjoyable than, the 10 or 15 minutes it took me to warm up when I just cold started it. Right.
Yes.
So that has been a bonus.
Yeah.
But so I think on the fun side, you guys got something else, or?
No, I don't. No. Go for it.
I was gonna say on the fun side though, was that, to be able to continue to do those fun things, I think if you had like one interval workout a week and you could just pick the interval workout that you wanted to do, I don't think you have to chase a specific FTP intervals, or it has to be VO2 30/30s. But if you did something that was high intensity during the week and still got your long ride in or a long run, If you're a runner, or
Mm-hmm.
I guess a
Mm-hmm.
runner or biker, I guess it would still apply to you, right? The one interval work and then
Mm-hmm.
a
Mm-hmm.
longer session
Mm-hmm.
that would maintain your fitness in the, in either domain.
Mm-hmm.
Is maintaining your
Mm-hmm.
some version of an intensity workout and then some version of but keeping it fun, right? So you're not trying to like crush yourself. What do you think of that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, I totally agree. I love it. I think, people can do all sorts of versions of that, so you can do this if you're training, you can do a hard session outside with your friends, or a hard Zwift race or something like that. That's easy, right? Just roll with it and be the person who's on the front, just mix it up. Like do stuff you wouldn't normally do, but like you're not peaking for anything. You have to hit a certain number of a certain zone. Like just mix it up. Like see what it's like to just race for it, right? You're not tired, you can have fun with it. Same outside with your friends or different challenges. Go
Yeah,
for
so like the group rides are fun.
KOM
Like
somewhere.
yeah, when
Yeah.
you were like, hey, I'm in my training mode. I got to go do my thing this weekend that's specific for my training plan, and you're foregoing the fun group ride.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is the great time to go for the group ride,
Mm-hmm.
right? The weather is still pretty decent, and you can, it's a good
Mm-hmm.
time to ride
Mm-hmm.
hard with your friends. There's nothing wrong with that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Totally. Yep. Mm-hmm. I think that's a great call. You can just do that and then keep the steady going. I think the challenge becomes when you try and do all of those things. So if you're trying to I'm going to go hard every day. Like I don't have a plan, so I feel like, oh look, there's a race on Zwift. Like what a surprise! I happen to find one at 7:05, or this one at 7:06, or this one at 7:07, and then you're racing, and you're like, I'll do it again tomorrow, and I'll do another one after this one. Been there, done that. Like there's a ROI on that work, and it's not great. If you want to have a crazy day where you do a big stuff and then pick the day, you pick a Saturday, Sunday, Friday, whatever your jam is, and get after it. But in general, this is the time of year where consistency has much bigger outsized impacts on your overall fitness than the hard stuff does. There's a time for the hard work, and it's generally before we do the long work. And that time has passed, unless you live in the Southern Hemisphere. And we're not talking about you people today. You're fine. Keep going. Don't slow down, Southern Hemisphere people. But the northern folks got to be smart for sure. There are some late season races. I will say that now, like our team has expanded to gravel, there is more stuff happening. Like the season traditionally winds down in October, but as I'm looking at the calendar of gravel events, there's like late October, there's some November, there's some etc. Like I do have this sense of an expanding calendar relative to where we've been before. I think it's really going to be even more important for athletes in that situation to know where they draw that line. They can use our out season, say, oh, October 30th, I'm now focusing on next year. I'm making next year relevant decisions, not this year, just, sort of be fun and go crazy. But I think it is important to be able to draw that line. Super important. Most dude guys don't draw that line unless it's like, neat little lines as part of their haircut, or maybe some lines in their eyebrows, like some dude guy lines in here. I'm all about that.
That would be good.
Awesome. Hey, this is a great DudeGuy episode. It was good to get back to it. Thank you for hosting and bringing the content. I'm excited for this fall. Like I said, we've got some stuff coming out on social media, Twitter, Instagram, about what we're doing this fall. We've got some events planned, like online to learn, get networked. We're encouraging people to apply if you want to join us. We have not just our training plans and the resources we talked about today, but we've got a bunch of camps planned as well. Lots of fun going on next year, and we hope to have you be a part of it. If being smart, working hard, and having fun with a group of people makes sense, we are the place for you. All right. Thanks, brother. I'll see you next episode. See ya.